What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast. We're talking about the latest and greatest of cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams. As always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? So welcome to Tuesday's episode. So Monday and Tuesday are topics, Wednesday discussion, Thursday's Ask CISSP, and then Friday's everything else, movies, books, games, and all that good stuff. But without further ado, I give it to Shannon.
All right, everybody. So this article comes from federalnewsnetwork.com, written by Justin Doubleday. And the title of this one is DHS Budget Request Would Cut CISA Staff by 1,000 Positions. So you may hear those numbers and be like, well, I mean, that's not a big number, right? But here's where this comes into play to where, yeah, it's a little more drastic than what you think it is, right? So under the 2026 budget request, right, CISA would go from approximately 3,732 funded positions today to 2,649. Like, CISA is that large of an organization with only 3,000 people, with the amount of work that they put in and the things that they support, right? But to lose 1,000, which actually it's a little over 1,000, but I can't see why this is the direction we want to go when it comes to the last, I'll say 5 years, right? Let's say the kickoff of COVID. We have seen that CISA has proven invaluable in some of the things that they provide out there to the masses, right? We've talked about it several times on the show when you have some of these organizations that don't necessarily have the money, the capital to go out there and do what needs to be done to keep their cybersecurity posture at a good level. CISA has been taking up that mantle, right? And like, it kind of pains me to see this because this is one of those things where it seems like CISA is being treated like a business, right? Like, how can we cut this money or how can we do this? When it comes to the federal government and when it comes to different organizations that support America, they shouldn't be treated like a business. And here's the thing. I'm not saying there's not waste in some organizations, in some places. I'm not saying that at all, but they are a service, right? I've said this before. I'll say it a million times. And when it comes to federal government, they are a service to the people. They are not there to make money. Like, I'm not investing in the federal government for it to give me a dividend, right? At the end of trading, right? That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for you to provide a service for the taxes that I pay. And this is kind of where they get away from this when it comes to, hey, we're going to cut these positions. And they have a breakdown. They have breakdowns in here, like from what divisions they're taking things from and whatnot. And some of the stuff I'm just like, this is crazy. Like, it's crazy that you would take a lot of the cuts in cybersecurity, right? It's just kind of where we are. And we've talked about this numerous times over on this show about when it comes to IT and cybersecurity, that's usually where the first cuts come from. And it's crazy because that is almost always the front door into letting a mess come in, right? So why is that the first one cut when it's the first line of defense? That's a little backwards, right? You would go a different direction, but that's just what they're looking into, man. And they talk about the millions of dollars they want to cut, right? Like the 1,000 of positions. We're talking about $40 million here, $45 million here. And the $45 million one, that was the one that it kind of hit me hardest, right? Because CISA would also cut funding for let me find it in here. Cyber defense and education training by $45 million, right? So we talk about it all the time about keeping people educated about what is going on out there, kind of getting people the skills to take care of the things that are going on out there, right? When it comes to cyber defense, and they're cutting money from that as well. They think that is a valid place to cut from. And I'm just like, this is wild to me, right? And again, CISA falls under the Department of Homeland Security, and they have other things that they're dealing with, right? But there are some things that just seem a little bit more important to me, and maybe it's our background, right? That's why we think this way. But yeah, this is disheartening, man, and I find myself saying that too much for the articles that we go over on this show, to where I'm like, this doesn't feel good to me, you know what I mean? But Ryan, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it makes me think like there were the last ones in and the first ones out is kind of what's going on. Some highlights I pulled up. So in 2022, right, they were responsible for triaging 37,875 cyber incidents, as well as doing election security assessments. In 2023, they did pre-ransomware notifications, which they sent out 1,200 early warnings to organizations that were infected with ransomware and didn't know it, and saved $350 million in potential ransomware demands. They did a ransomware vulnerability warning pilot where they conducted more than 1,700 notifications to organizations about open vulnerabilities that could be exploited, right? So they were out there testing the waters, letting people know, like, hey, this is where you're vulnerable at. They did the artificial intelligence roadmap, right? So like they published the roadmap to artificial intelligence protections, promoting the enhancing of cybersecurity capabilities and ensuring AI systems are protected from cyber-based threats. In 2024, they did election infrastructure protection, so they kept us safe during the vote. And then they also did nation-state threat mitigation, where they were stopping advanced scalable vulnerability threats from nation-states, and the reduction and increasing of awareness, as well as the AI risk management, which they then took the roadmap and they went a step further. So they're critical to what we do.
And all that, and again, all that with 3,700 people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's
That's already slim enough. They're like, they could be more efficient if you make them smaller. Like, that's not always the case. Sometimes you cut to the bone, right? You got to be careful of reduction for reduction's sake. Like, they're out there doing great things. Leave them alone. Let them do what they've been doing, because they've been keeping us safe. So hopefully that mindset will change and there won't be any more cuts. But we'll see. We'll see if there's degradation. Like, they already tried to pull the website, right? Which is very important. So this might be why, because they're like, hey, within these cuts, you got these people who do this to the website, and they're like, meh. So not a good idea. So hopefully they roll back. They see like, hey, we at least need to stop the hemorrhaging, and then we will scale back up. But you're losing talent, right? This talent's going to go to the private sector and make really good money and not come back.
So I'm curious, right? If this is one of those things where, because they fall under the Department of Homeland Security, and the Department of Homeland Security has other things that they're concentrating on right now, I wonder if, like, if they were to be separated and taken out from under there, would it be different? Like, would their budget be handled differently because they'd be their own organization, or because they're competing for resources in DHS under the current administration? This is why they're like, hey, we got to make cuts somewhere, right? Like,
Right, that could be it. Yeah, that would make even though I don't think you should be cutting anything Homeland Security wise, but it may make more sense of why they're being hit, because they are smaller, so it'd be harder for them to defend themselves. Right? Give me some bullet statements of what you guys have done. You'd be like, well, we did all these things, and they're like, you could do a little less.
But again, with competing resources, right? Like they're DHS is running through their budget right now, right? Like I don't know how much people pay attention to what's going on out there, and we're not going to get into it on here, but DHS is running through their budget, like
yeah. So that would make a lot more sense within that framing. Not that them running out their budget makes any sense, but just where do you make the cuts if you're hemorrhaging money, right? So hopefully, as we know it, remain and hopefully grow in years to come, because they are a very vital part of the cybersecurity landscape. That pretty much covers it. Like, I don't have anything positive to say, except for their accolades.
And that's the thing. Like it's CISA is becoming the whipping boy a lot more lately. Like we've done a lot more of these episodes where it's been like CISA's got to take the hit here, right? Or they got to take the hit here, or we think they should do this, and then no, let's roll back. Like it's happening way too often. I don't know if it's just not enough foresight going into it of what's going on. And again, these are those second and third order effects we talk about, right? Because we talk about how they're canceling things where, hey, we get stakeholders together. I'm trying to remember what the article was centered on, but it was about getting stakeholders together to go over, what's going on out there in the world, and they stopped doing that.
Was it the advisory boards?
The advisory boards, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you don't have that, then you don't know like what you are missing, because the people are not in the room to tell you, hey, this is a service you provide that is really needed. We think it's needed out there, but yeah, it's where we are. Second and third order effects. We talk about it all the time.
Right. But yeah, definitely to tune in to the podcast. So Monday, Tuesday are topics, Wednesday discussion, Thursdays Ask a CISSP, then Fridays everything else, movies, books, games, all that cool stuff. You can hit us up at the websites to go by our name. You can go to theothersideofthefirewall.com, where you can find all of our stuff. You can go to ramcyber.io. You can take you to the same place. You can hit up anything that says the other side of the firewall, the other side of the FW, or Ask a CISSP. It's probably us. And then you can hit me up personally. I'm at RY Security Guy. That's RY Security Guy. You can find me pretty much everywhere, but LinkedIn is where I'm most active. Stay safe, stay secure.